Monikers was published in 2015 by CMYK and Palm Court through Asmodee. It was designed by Alex Haig and Justin Vickers and illustrated by Cecile Garapi and Alex Haig. 2 to 12 or more players take turns trying to get their teammates to guess their cards using words, actions, and a lot of silliness. The game consists of over 400 cards, each dedicated to a person, thing, or concept. There are a few with an illustration, but the majority are just text. The lower portion of text cards feature a helpful explanation. Divide everyone into 2 teams. Players receive 10 cards, choose 5 they like, and return the rest to the box. The game deck should be 40 to 50 cards. If playing with a smaller group, return fewer cards to the box. In Family Facts, I'll give a few tips on this. Teams alternate as one member tries to get their teammates to guess as many cards as possible in 60 seconds. If playing with a huge group, use a shorter time limit. Skipping cards is allowed if your team is taking too long to guess correctly. Once the timer goes, cards correctly guessed are kept by that team. All other cards are shuffled together for the other team's turn. Continue until all cards have been guessed. Mark your scores, then start the next round with the losing side going first. The game is played with the same deck 3 times. In round 1, a player may do or say anything but the card's name. In round 2, a player is limited to saying a single word. In round 3, a player is limited to acting out or making sounds for the card. To break it down, describe and act out the same deck of cards over 3 rounds to make your team guess the answers. That's Monikers. Our games of Monikers have been around an hour, but group size, time limits, and other factors can change this. Setup and takedown is as quick as you'd imagine. If you space for the charades round, you can play this wherever you can fit a group. It's better to not play this at a table. We've used grandmas in our living room for our sessions. You'll want to filter some cards out if playing with young kids. I'm not going to show or say them depending on who's watching, but there's a reason the box shows 17 for the age. If you remove these, there's 350 cards or so left playing with people 13 and up. I don't recommend ages under due for some pop culture and history topics. How many 10-year-olds know who Chris Farley was? How about Gregor Samsa? When we play, we'll allow players at the start to return unfamiliar cards. Once we have 10 cards we're happy with, we proceed. This, of course, means that someone else may be unfamiliar, but that's gonna happen. Monikers isn't a narrative game that tells stories, but you'll have many memorable moments every session. In the second round of our second game, I had to have Dad guess finger guns with a single word. I said, Mum. He guessed it immediately. In our third game, Grandma was trying to click her tongue but kept making a weird wet sound. Mom was like, gross, disgusting, horrible sound. Please stop doing that. We all started laughing. In the second round of our fifth game, Grandma said a single word in a raspy voice. Hello. Dad thought for a second, then said horse whisper. Get it? In that same game, Grandma had to have Dad guess speed walking in the third round. Because of her injuries and age and everything, she moved so slowly. Dad had no clue. We all had a good laugh about that later too. There are a ton of cards and monikers to help things stay fresh. This also means groups with different types of knowledge don't feel like they're really stuck with unfamiliar cards at the start. Political cards, pop culture, and even memes will come up every game. The rules are so simple that you can teach pretty much anyone in a minute or 2. The box is small enough to fit into a purse. In other words, it checks all the right boxes for a party game. You'll know the deck, aside from the skip cards, by the second round, so even if you don't know the topic, you have something to work with. For example, in one of our first couple of games, Catherine the Great's horse came out. On the drive back from Grandma's, Dad explained how she had many, partners, so political rivals and so on spread rumors that she had been with her horse. About a week later, I had Catherine the Great as my card round 2, and Dad was my partner. I said horse, and he was able to guess correctly. The length feels right for this type of game because time just flies by due to lack of downtime. I mean, you could zone out when it's not your turn, but you'll be at a huge disadvantage. You'll also miss out on some funny moments. Like codenames, in-jokes, and specific words and/or actions change the field depending on those playing. It'd be fun trying this in a group of strangers compared to friends and families. The clue cards vary in point value to reflect difficulty level. A unibrow is a 1 point, Alexander Hamilton is 2 points, Doge is 3, and Blackula is 4 points. With the way gameplay works, it all balances out nicely. The designer posted on BoardGameGeek saying that there's a plan to add an NSFW label to certain cards in future releases. This is great. I love if Asmodee provides PDFs of those cards, offer replacements to buy, or even stickers so people can modify their existing sets. Monikers is a team-based party game of descriptions and charades that's full of silly moments. Every game we've all laughed so hard at ridiculous clues and gestures. Sometimes the best moments are when you know the card, but the other team's only confusing one another. Like pretty much all party games, this won't be for everyone. It may pose problems for those with movement limitations, anxiety, the timer especially, and sensory disorders due to explosive laughter or shouting of guesses. Hopefully, my review helps to determine if this is right for your family or group's age and knowledge level. If you can't tell, I love Monikers. It and Just One are my favorite party games. Leave the Shut Up and Sit Down expansion serious nonsense because we're still having a blast at the base box. I think we're adding in our next session though, and I'm so excited to try it. I just want to play Monikers again in any way, expansion or no expansion.